Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So something a little bit different for the channel. I picked up a OneWheel Pint. Having never ridden a skateboard before, or never ridden one well, we've all been to Walmart and tried to ride the skateboard in the aisle there, but I've seen these all over the place, lots of advertisements, of course, on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube for OneWheels, and I've always thought they're really neat. I mean, I'm always interested in new technology, and solar and electric rideables like this are just something that really fascinates me because you can charge them with solar power, you can ride this without spending any kind of fuel or having to get any kind of gas. And in fact, I've been looking also at electric motorcycles, electric mopeds, there's electric bikes. There's a few people like Last Line Defense and Talon Sci. They've been riding new electric bikes recently, electric mountain bikes. That stuff's really cool, and I think it's kind of really the way of the future as the battery technology improves more and more, and you get really cool ranges out of things as small as a OneWheel Pint. So picked one of these up after hearing a bunch of good reviews, seeing a lot of cool footage from other YouTubers who had them, and apparently they don't seem awful to learn. Again, I'm not a skateboarder, so first things first, let's unbox her, show you what you get. Where this review is just going to be on the OneWheel Pint as is, comes in the box, and then I also will pick up some upgrades along the way, like fenders and different bumpers and things like that to kind of install. So that'd be another review. But just if you wanted a OneWheel Pint, this is for you, and we'll also talk about, after this, riding it and see if I can actually do it. And hopefully it's not as bad as I'm thinking it might be, but maybe it's easy. I don't know, we'll find out. Let's get to unboxing. So this is the box it comes in, right to your door from California. This is made in the USA, which is very cool. And I'm assuming there's another OneWheel box inside of here. So let's get a knife and cut her open here. Got some tape on the ends. You got the box itself in here. You also have some nice cardboard bumpers on each corner. Alrighty. Get this other box out of the way. There you go. And here is the OneWheel Pint box itself. It has a nice little handle. This thing is definitely not super light, so heads up there. I know it's definitely lighter than the, what is it, the XR, the larger one. But it is manageable. 6 to 8 mile range on here. Designed and assembled right in California. Very cool. Fun-sized Stoke machine. Upside down. OneWheel Pint. OneWheel logo. See on the back here. Let's see, no remote required. Simple stop. Hypercore brushless motor. NMC batteries. Intelligent LED lighting. Digital shaping 2.0. Works on the App Store, so Google Play or Apple App Store. Doesn't seem like it's ever been opened before. Looks pretty stiff cardboard in there. Life is about to get more awesome. Let's see. More nice packaging. It's that mag handle. Looks like it's spring loaded. So this thing comes out like that. Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, this has like, look, it's just dust. It's not dirt or anything. It's actually dust, but there's definitely some dust on here. This almost looks like 3D printed, this part here. They probably did to save some money. Here is that go-kart tire right there. Meet your foot pad on there. All right. So all this you got to read up on here before we get riding. We'll talk about that when I start riding with you guys here. This box on the side here, owner's manual inside. I wonder if the charger, there it is, yep. Pint, little sticker. Oh, a couple of stickers, nice. Welcome to the revolution. Oh, they have a little thing in here talking about how to ride. It's always good to see. Cool. So everything's housed right in the middle for the motor here. Then you have all your sensor pads up there. So, all right, let's go ahead, let it charge up here, which I believe the charger is right there. So there's the charging port right there. Let's charge her up. Let's get outside, learn to ride this thing. Looks like a lot of fun. All right, guys, so we found a school, which these days is kind of pretty quiet around here with everything remote. So what I want to do is try out this OneWheel Pint here, just kind of show you my very first time riding this, and the wife would be none too pleased if I broke anything. So wear some protective gear. That's like one of the first rules OneWheel says in their manual. Wear protective gear, especially a helmet. If nothing else, a helmet, because if you fall on one of these and you do a nosedive, it's not going to do well. These hands and wrists are not going to do well. So be very careful your first ride. Get some protective gear if you're not feeling safe. If you're brand new to skateboarding like I am. We've never done anything like this before. So we're going to try it out. But first thing, let's go ahead and link up the OneWheel app. All right, so select your board. We're going to go with a pint. Power your board on by pressing the power button. So you hold it, and there's an amber light that comes on sometimes, and it just means I think that it's unbalanced. So turn it off again if it pops on, and then just hit the button for just a couple of seconds. You see the purple lights pop on. All right, always wear a helmet. Lean on a friend to get started. Show a little video here. So it's a nice app setup, pretty easy, and it won't let you skip until you watch it, so that's cool. So at least the first time. Push back. Keep an eye out for that, so that's when the board lets you know you're going too fast. Digital shaping talks about the different kinds of smoother or more aggressive kind of riding you want to choose from. Awesome, so there it is. So it's a real simple sync. So the board's on, basically you're gonna step on and you're gonna go and have it self-balance. So it's gonna be definitely rocky the first couple times. I'm gonna have that wife here behind the camera come over and help me kind of stand up straight the first time to kind of balance. All right, so step on and let's self-balance. Pop up pretty quick. Okay, so you go lean back, so you go back. But if you lean too far, you stop. So go back to self-balancing. The self-balancing is okay, but this wobble back and forth is definitely something you gotta get used to as a non-skateboarder. But let's see here. You can always jump off the board. I really got used to that balance though. That balance is kind of throwing me off because the tire is not as flat as it appears. But you just lean forward a little bit. You can turn. And I think you can get the hang of this. I've never ridden a skateboard before. Man, I tell you, the front to back is definitely the hardest part. I'm gonna go in a circle. And I guess you can always jump off this thing, and it's just gonna take time to really know how to stay balanced on it. Nope. So another thing that they definitely mentioned was wearing flat shoes. So these sneakers are probably not 100% perfect for it, but they are flat, so they're kind of some older pair in case I bit the dust and destroyed my shoes. But they're flat. So a lot of like skateboarders wear like Vans. You can get those. I mean, as being not a skateboarder, we don't have any. So I just got my flatter shoes, but you don't want a tall shoe, and I can see why. You don't want anything squishing very much. Even these are kind of risky because you're squishing back and forth. I'm definitely noticing that wheel, how it kind of like wobbles back and forth. Like you really need to like lean both toes in to go left, lean both heels at the same time to go right, which is a little more tricky because if you're facing this way, you're kind of leaning back and it's a little, make sure your wheel go like this back and forth. I'm definitely getting the hang of it though. I can see why fenders are important, so that's another video that's going to happen here. I can see why fenders are important because there's going to be a lot of dirt kind of getting kicked up on the board. But we're getting better at it. I haven't fallen yet. It'll probably happen here soon. But I have been jumping off like that a couple of times. And I think it's just kind of what you have to do, and that's why so many of these get beat up. And you can get the new replacements for the sides and the bumpers and things like that. But when you're first going, you really got to like just go. Just go for it. And if you go for it, it'll self-balance out, and you got to get your balance. And I don't know, it's fun though. It's getting better, getting better. So you just go for it. Toe in. Oh, there it goes. So you have to get your balance as soon as you go up, which is definitely a new thing for me. But then it kicks on. Then you start rolling, but see how it gets kind of squirrely a little bit. I think you just gotta get used to it. Gotta get used to that back and forth, heel to toe. That's the hardest part, I think, because even leaning back to stop ain't bad. Trying to get it to curve back. There you go. Alright, so that last ride did record my miles per hour. And for the first time I got pushback because it's max 12 miles per hour. So as I was riding right about there, all of a sudden you feel a slight little nudge, like literally like that on your right foot. So fast forward a few weeks and about 63 miles on the OneWheel Pint, and I gotta say, I'm really getting the hang of this. I did fall off once, just once, but it wasn't too bad. Kind of messed on my elbow a little bit of scrapes there. Kind of fell on my side, was going up a hill and just went a little bit too fast, which is the one no they say to do. So if you're going up or down a hill, just take your time. The thing maxes out at 15-16 miles per hour anyways before you get that pushback. But overall, I'm really getting the feel for carving in this thing. It is a lot of fun. We've taken her on a road trip actually recently, and I went ahead and cruised around some greenways in Nashville, Tennessee, which is a blast. On the Pint, at least, you can get about 10 miles, maybe pushing 11 or 12 on flat surfaces. So if you're just going on a nice level trail for about 10 miles, which is good. I mean, that's kind of what it's rated for. As soon as you go uphill, you definitely lose a lot of your mileage there. But I mean, 10 miles is a good amount. The charger that comes with this thing works pretty well. Can't complain. I mean, it charges right away. Probably within about 2-3 hours, you're at a full charge. So I really don't think you need to buy the fancy, expensive supercharger unless you really want to be, you know, hitting the trail right away, maybe take a break for an hour and keep going. But in that case, you probably don't want to get the Pint anyways, because that range is not as far as like the XR or like the XR Plus there. I've been having a lot of fun the last few weeks ever since getting this thing, and it's really been a joy to have and take on trips and just leaving the truck to jump out when you want and just go explore. Being that it is a one-wheel design, it handles pavement, even some broken up concrete like this. It handles it really well. You're going to want to watch out for dips because of any kind of significant potholes or significant ledges you got to climb. That one wheel might trip you up and you will go flying. And same thing for grass. So if you're going on a trail like this, you want to probably avoid the grass. You're going to see some wheel slip, and then if you hit any kind of bump at all in grass, you just won't have the traction, seeing that this thing is essentially a go-kart tire. But even loose gravel like this, I mean, she'll do it. You're going to probably fry your miles riding on gravel like that a lot. It's really optimized for more pavement, honestly. But here's some gravel up here. We can try, see if I'll fly off this thing or not. Kind of give you an idea. You feel a little bit of wheel slip, and if you get a lot of wheel slip, it'll let you know on the app as well. But you can't really go as fast in this gravel, but it does work. Just a little bit slower. So now that I've had this one wheel for a while now and put over 65 miles on it now, what do I think? Do I think a one-wheel Pint is right for someone who's never skateboarded before? I think so. That's kind of the vibe I was going for. I've never really done much boarding myself, and I gotta say, these Pints are a lot of fun, and the price is right. I mean, you can get a good deal on one of these, and you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on one of like the one-wheel XRs or something like that, or the XR Plus there. I think the Pint will help you kind of get into the one-wheel vibe and get to a feel for how you ride one of these, what's the feeling when you ride, and it is a really, really carvy kind of ride. It's a lot of fun. Again, it's not going to be something that you go really fast on. It's definitely that 16 miles per hour. Sounds fast. It's just not. I mean, I kind of want to go faster sometimes, and if you want to really go fast, you probably will want to get the XR. They have a little bit more speed, a little bit more range, but you pay for that too. But overall, I think the Pint is good. I think for what you can do with it and what you want to do with a board like this, to kind of get your feet wet, I guess, with electric boarding like this, I think the Pint is a good beginner level thing to try. Compared to maybe an electric skateboard that can go much faster, much farther, but it's more of a skateboard feel compared to what you feel when you have your Pint or your one-wheel in general. And again, the app works really well. I think the pushback is kind of annoying at times. Like I said, the speed kind of feels kind of weird. A couple other negatives I could see is the range. I would say if you want to go a little farther, 8 miles or 10 miles comes up real quick. It's not the farthest thing, that's for sure. You definitely can see like the electric scooters or electric skateboards, you get 15 up to like 30-mile ranges and things like that. So the Pint is definitely more of a short commuter vehicle if you're in a city, and then just know you can plug it in. It takes a good couple hours to charge, but they do sell that supercharger as well if you want to go and be able to charge it much, much quicker. But, you know, let's talk about the app, because I've noticed that the app in the last, few weeks of riding this thing, the app works really well. It has a couple of weird things to it, but overall, connection's real easy, kind of works really well, seems to update pretty fast. It has a good amount of features on it for what it is. So let's take a look real quick here. So we kind of briefly talked about the app a little bit early on when I first was kind of testing this thing out. You can kind of see your speed there. Really, this thing has about a 15, 16 mile per hour max on it. That's about as all you're going to get out of her. So it's not exactly super quick. You do see they do get some regen on there if you're riding around. You can kind of get some regenerative energy coming from some downhill, which is nice. So it helps extend your battery, extend that range a little bit as well. But of course, when you go uphill, you're gonna destroy it. But then you get to go downhill, you can help out a little bit, but don't rely on that. You can see 8-mile range available. So you can probably get about maybe 10 to 12, to be honest, on a nice flat. You can kind of see 21% usage. My trip right here is 1.8, 64 miles overall for the lifespan, battery 61%. There is a button you can click that turns off and on the lights, which is kind of cool. And then kind of creeping down to the bottom here, some useful features here. You have your simple stop enabled. I like simple stop. Might as well just keep it enabled where you lift your heel up. It's kind of annoying. It doesn't work as easy as it should. When you lift your heel, it takes a little bit of time, like a few seconds, and it's kind of an awkward angle to lift your heel up. Now, in order to change your riding mode, which are the 4 selections on the bottom here, you need to be going real slow or pretty much at a complete stop. So let's see if we'll do it. Alright, so you basically have to go to a complete stop because 1 mile per hour is just not a good idea because you have to really, really slow down to make that work. So if you're stopped, you can see you can enable and disable simple stop with just a click of the button there. And then you have your redwood. You can see how it activated there after a second. You have your Pacific, elevated, skyline. And if you click the little question mark, you can kind of see what each of these are. It's important to note the max speed for some of these. Really, Pacific seems to be what I just kind of leave it on, honestly. But you can choose between which ones you want to do. It's going to have subtle differences on the ride and how it works and how it feels when you're riding this thing. But it's called the digital shaping, is what they call these 4 different riding modes. So I just kind of leave it on Pacific. And once you pick one that's activated there, you can also see that you have your rides. You can choose to set rides. There's a leaderboard. You can log in to participate. There's a store, which is kind of cool as well. So you can kind of see the merch, kind of see if you want to buy anything else. And there's something called an academy, which takes a while to load there, but it basically shows the video documents on how to ride safely, stance, pushback, talking about powering on. And by the way, pushback with this does hit about at the like 15 mile per hour, so you're not quite gonna hit that 16 before you get pushed back, but you can see that earlier in the video. You can kind of see the pushback that's happening. So in conclusion, guys, if you are on the fence about picking up a OneWheel Pint, you're not sure if it's the right thing for you, if you can actually learn to ride it, if you'll be good at riding it, because maybe you're not a skateboarder like I was. I mean, I wasn't a skateboarder at all either. Just go for it. I think the price is there. I think it's reliable. I think the technology, linking it with the app, linking to the board, kind of tracking your miles and things like that, works really well, surprisingly well, honestly, for an app. A lot of times you might kind of run into some issues there, but I haven't had any issues at all with this OneWheel Pint, and she just keeps on going. No issues at all with the 65 some miles I've put on her so far. And really, I think it's a little bit safer than an electric skateboard to start off. Obviously, it's a little bit more expensive, but it's a little bit safer in the fact that it doesn't go that fast, but fast enough to go and use it as a commuter vehicle, things like that around like a college campus or around downtown. But it also doesn't have the range. However, it does have a decent amount of range. I mean, it'll go, like I said, 10 miles is pretty good. It's not awful, but it doesn't have, you know, the issue where you might run into some ruts or into a bunch of gravel and end up having to maybe fly off the board automatically. The one wheel, being a go-kart wheel, will absorb most of that stuff. And just be careful, like I said, grass, mud, bigger rocks, those kind of things will trip you up, so be careful. But overall, I think it's a great buy. I think for a beginner, anyone can learn how to ride. I think that was one of the company's slogans, saying anyone can learn to ride one of these one wheels, and it's true. I think it is. I will say I did pick up some Vans, and I think the Vans are the way to go, like more of a flat shoe that really can kind of stick to the board, and you kind of really feel the board as it moves, as you learn to carve and turn really quickly. You can like lift your left foot up and push your right foot down and turn really quickly, turn on a dime, and you go back and forth. It is just really cool to be able to do that, and I think the Vans do help, and you don't have that squishy kind of sole that you would get for like a regular sneaker. So maybe you might want to look into that. I'll put links down below for like the helmet, the one wheel, the Vans. I also will do a future review here shortly on the Pint on some upgrades you can do. I don't think you need some of them, but some of them are for aesthetics, especially after you reach past the beginner level, after you kind of shredded up the sides of the board, the bumpers, things like that. Maybe you want to change the color, maybe you want to look a little bit nicer. Hopefully you're expecting to use Simple Stop more and not fling the board out from under you to stop and jump off the board. So we'll do another review on that, but overall, guys, I think it's a good buy. Coming from a non-skateboarder like myself, thumbs up. So if you have any questions, hit them in the comments below. Again, all the links will be down below as well in the description. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, it really helps me out, guys. And head on over to Instagram, follow us there, like us on Facebook for all the latest and greatest deals on the internet. And I'll see you guys in the next review. I'm gonna go carve around a little bit more. I think I got like 50%. Let's do it. Another 4 miles or so.